Hi there, my name's Sally. I'm a dog trainer and behaviourist and I'm currently 8.5 months pregnant. This is Sandy and Skylar and they're both happy, confident, friendly dogs, but I've spent the last 8.5 months preparing them for the changes that are going to happen to our household because you can never be too prepared. So everything's going to change for them. It's going to change for us quite dramatically, but it's going to change for them as well. They're going to get less attention. I'm going to be hopefully breastfeeding, and so there's going to be times when I need to maybe shut the dogs out, or I don't have the energy to take them out for a walk. There's a possibility of a C-section obviously, so I might not be able to take them out every day or quite as much as they were used to. So I've looked into local dog walkers, and they've got to know some of the local dog walkers in case of emergency. And I've slightly reduced their exercise just that they're not reliant on having a long walk every day. So now they're quite happy skipping the odd day every now and then. I'm also getting them used to being shut away so that I have time to concentrate on myself and the baby. We've put our baby gates up early and the dogs are getting used to the fact that they can't always be in the same room as us. They're on the sofa with me today, and we do still allow them to be with us, but they don't expect it all the time now. So I'll ask them to get off the sofa, I'll reward them for getting off the sofa, or I'll put them behind a baby gate for a little while to give them their activity ball or a stuffed chew toy. This means I'll have a lot of options when the baby comes along in terms of being able to shut the dogs out of the room if I need to. I've been working on their general training, so making sure that they can walk nicely on a loose lead, that they don't jump up at me when I come in through the door, and that they have a bit of impulse control. So if I have a toy that I don't want them to touch, I have been teaching them to leave it and rewarding them when they leave it alone. And the same with food, so dropping food on the floor and asking them to leave it. I've also worked on asking the two of them to settle in a certain place, gradually increasing the amount of time in between treat rewards and calmly putting them back if they get up. And I make sure I tell them when I no longer expect them to stay in that place. This will make it easier to avoid things like risking tripping over the dogs when I'm carrying the baby. I've been making sure they have plenty of ways to keep themselves occupied, so I've had a look through their toy box and they're fed each day out of an activity feeder, so that I have a way of giving them something to do that will keep their mind and their bodies active for a little while without me needing to be paying attention to them. I've been introducing them to the sights, smells and sounds that they're going to be experiencing when the new baby comes along. So for the smells, I lent this blanket of mine to a friend who has a little one, and it's come back nicely covered in baby smells and bits of baby food and all sorts. And the dogs have been quite happily smelling that and getting used to that. I even borrowed a few used nappies off one of my friends, wet ones and solid ones, again so that the dogs could have a sniff of those and get used to that. And for the last month or so, we've had the baby beds and the travel cots up around the house so that the dogs get used to the increase in equipment that's going to be around the house. In terms of the new sounds that they're going to be hearing, I've been finding various videos of babies crying on the internet and playing that to them at a gradually increasing volume. But I've been rewarding them all the way through with treats and games to show them that there's nothing to worry about, and they're quite used now to the sounds of babies crying and giggling. These guys don't sleep on the bed with us, but if they did, then from the beginning I'd have got them used to reducing that, maybe moving them gradually further and further out of the bedroom, either using a crate or using their own bed, so that they were comfortable being in a room without us overnight. I've got a bedside crib and I want to be able to have the baby in with us overnight. I've looked into where the dogs' beds are, and I've given them another bed in another location. So if I am in one room with the baby and they're crying, or the dogs are unsettled by the baby for whatever reason, the dogs can take themselves off and go and lie down and go to sleep in another room. I've also done some new training with the dogs. So I've got them used to going out with a pram or a buggy with friends of mine that have children. So they're quite used to the experience of walking alongside a buggy now. And I've also spent time training the dogs around where there are children already, so around schools and playgrounds, and rewarded the dogs for any calm, confident, happy behaviour. I packed my own hospital bag about a month ago, and at the same time I packed a going away bag for the dogs with notes about who's having them, which vets they're registered with, how much food they need. The dog's bag has their beds, their leads, their toys, and measured out food for a number of days, just in case I'm in for a few days. I've even spent time holding a doll and pretending like it's a baby, so that the dogs get used to me paying attention to something that isn't them. All of this is designed to prepare the dogs for the huge amount of changes that's going to be coming into the house over the next month or so. And so that when the baby comes in, the baby's the only thing that's changed, that they're quite used to the different sounds and smells and sights and things that I do and things that I do with them, so that it isn't as big a deal for them when the baby arrives. Once the baby arrives, I'm going to be very careful to watch their body language to see what they think. If the dogs show any signs of being uncomfortable at all, if they freeze or if they move away from the baby, or even if they growl at the baby, I'm not going to be punishing them for that. I'm going to make sure that I take them away from the situation, possibly ask someone else to hold the baby, and be aware that I need to work on that situation. It's important not to punish a dog for growling in any situation, because it's just their way of saying I'm uncomfortable and something needs to be done about it. If you were to punish them and tell them off for growling, then their only option is to go straight to the next level, which could be showing aggression towards your child. And the most important thing when you're introducing a baby into a house that has dogs is to never, ever, ever leave your child alone, unsupervised, with the dogs around. Even for just a few seconds, because accidents do happen. If possible, take the baby with you if you have to answer the door or go to the loo, but if necessary, set up baby gates or travel cots and playpens to keep the dogs and the baby separate at any time that you can't be paying them both full attention. Even if they've shown no worrying signs at all, it's always better to be safe than sorry.